They say your early life romance game.
Alright guys, so we're back with the MazdaSpeed 3 build. We got the engine torn down on the last episode. We got the crank, the cylinder head, everything sitting here. We're going to go over a couple of the products that we're putting in it. So first I want to mention, we got the Wiseco pistons. These are a flat top design. No GDI dish. These work fantastic on our 700 horsepower build. This time around though, we've gotten rid of the factory rings and we went with a set of Total Seal gapless rings. I'm going to give these a shot on this build, see if we can build that extra boost and keep the compression inside the engine. Next, we're going to talk about the studs. So go ahead and zoom down here on my finger. Got it? Alright. So these are factory main and head studs from ARP. We replaced both those nuts with that nut. This is a nut we've sourced from ARP. What it does is there's a washer that comes with the two kits. There's our washer that comes with the kit. We like to have more surface load on the face of that washer with a bigger nut and a bigger washer that fits in there. Now you zoom up over here onto the engine. Okay, so here's what we like to see. That is the factory ARP washer and nut. Now if you look at how much of the area it's missing versus the OEM, so what we do is we replace it with our washer and our nut. Again, these are sourced through ARP. There's no clearance issues. Everything works just fine. We just like to do this because it transfers more load into the face of the attaching head or crank saddle in this case. Alright, so we're using the K1 rods. These are the H-beam rods with the ARP 2000 bolts. We had really good success with these in both 500, 600, and 700 horsepower applications. Going to be using these in this build. Back here, we've got, this is a big box. You see that? A big box of MazdaSpeed valve trains. What we like to do is send this over to the machine shop. There's extra valves, extra shims, buckets, seals, springs, etc., etc. We send that over with the cylinder head so the machine shop has excess shims and valves in case something's bad inside of the cylinder head. Last part of the build, we got a set of custom cams, both exhaust and intake. And these are a set of cams that are specifically designed around using it in a small turbo application. Short rev limiter, probably going to set the rev limiter about 7,600. These camshafts are physically designed for 3076, 29 series, 3071 type turbos. These cams won't rev out in a big turbo like a 62 or 66 size turbo. We're using these in this application because we're, again, working on a budget build. The camshafts are going to be focused around what we're using with the turbo. So most of these items we've used inside of our shop builds previously, 500, 600, and 700 horsepower. This particular build, this particular car is stock with a stock engine, stock head, and stock head and main bolts actually. We ended up making 500 horsepower with it. We have a video on that?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so we have a video on that. I'll try to throw a link in there for that video so you guys can see what this car did. Stock, race fuel with about 30 pounds of boost. Internal gate, factory exhaust manifold. So we are going to be running the factory exhaust manifold. I'm going to ceramic coat it up and we're going to run an external gate this time around on this particular build because we are going to try to max out the 3071, the GTX 3071?
76.
76, thank you. So it's a GTX 3076 that we're going to be trying to max out with an external gate, and the goal is to hit about 600 horsepower. Now again, we're trying to keep this in a budget. We're trying to keep this under $10,000 for all the parts. Of course that would include labor. Some of the big hitters inside of that are going to be the machine shop, and we're probably about $1,600 to $2,000 inside on the machine shop. The turbo was about $1,600 bucks. The clutch was about $1,200. Methanol system, we're probably going to have about $1,000 into that. we'll have a separate episode for that, showing you guys what we're doing for the methanol and all the other items we're throwing on it, like the cob, boost controls, some cob mounts and stuff like that. That will be another episode when we're going through and getting this thing put together. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, subscribing, liking the content, and sharing it with the people that are out there. This is another build we have inside the shop to go along with our Stinger, the Hyundai Veloster, and the 350Z we got started right now. So just expect to see more of this and other episodes coming. Thanks, guys.